Before we get started, I just want to say that Wix was kind enough to sponsor this video, and I want to remind my viewers what they do and how I built my own website. Wix is a free-to-use platform that allows you to build customizable, professional, and robust websites. You can use these simple drag-and-drop tools to create a beautiful website of your own. There's a professional solution for every need, whether it be Wix Video, Wix Pro Gallery, Wix Bookings, etc. Wix does all the heavy lifting for you. They do reliable hosting to keep your website safe and secure, custom domains and mailboxes, email marketing, and more. This platform lets your creativity run wild. There's infinite design opportunities, every website will be personal, unique, and its own original masterpiece. You can create whatever you want, whether you're a novice when it comes to web design, a business owner, or a professional website builder. Wix is for everyone. Wix enables you to create a website for almost any purpose, be it to build a business, personal brand, or portfolio. With beautifully designed templates and all-in-one management, Wix offers hundreds of templates, unlimited pages, and top-grade hosting for free. Upgrade to one of their premium plans for as little as $5 a month to get even more. So here we are on my website, alfomedia.net, and here's the video player. You can scroll through every video I've ever played and just watch them right there. You can click on the About page, and this pretty much is just me talking about why I started the channel. You can click to go to the channel on this button. You can go to the Patreon page, and this takes you to the Patreon and shows you why it's so important to the show. The merch tab is just a little preview of some of the merch I sell, and you can go to the store right there. The blog is where I keep all the scripts for my videos. You can click on them right here, and then here are the links to my social medias. Having my own website for the show is great. It's a perfect way for new subs to learn everything they need to know about what goes on here. It has a bunch of valuable resources, and I'm so excited to keep adding on to it. And if I ever needed to change anything, I could just go into the Wix editor, and for example, if we're on the Patreon page, changing this button is literally just a click away. It's so user-friendly. Click on the link in the description or go to wix.com/go/alfomedia to get started on your website today. I think there's a big difference between listening to a musician for the first time and hearing new music from a musician that you're already a fan of. The context of what you know about the music can enhance your listening experience in a number of ways. Whether it be that a given song is a refreshing change of pace in a band's discography, the history of a well-known song comes into play, or the publicly known life events of an artist can be heard on a new project, these are 3 examples of how context can enhance music. Recently, I was watching a video that talked about how every upcoming pop-punk band sounds exactly like modern baseball, and it got me thinking that a lot of kids might have just missed modern baseball's time in the spotlight and are only familiar with a lot of these newer, allegedly copycat bands, which is really unfortunate. This group of guys from Philadelphia, who are currently on hiatus right now, have made some of the most interesting, infectious music I've heard over the last decade. Like many emo pop-punk bands with a similar sound, they often discuss topics that may seem really minute on the outside looking in, but to the band it feels like life or death. It's a timeless idea within the genre that can either come off as really annoying or really relatable, and charming even. The boys can tread this line between being introspective and self-obsessed so well. They can complain for an entire verse of a song about how a girl doesn't like them and how it doesn't make any sense, but then spend the next verse opening up about the insecurities that prove why the girl doesn't like them. It's hypocritical for sure, but they're being pretty blatant about it, which is really cool to see. It creates an interesting dynamic where the lead singer is almost like an unreliable narrator of sorts. I love this band in general, and knowing what kind of songs they make, the kind of dumb stuff that they complain about and dramatize for a lot of their songs, really helps shine a light on some of their softer, more meaningful stuff. The final song on their album, You're Gonna Miss It All, Pothole, is one of the gentlest, most vulnerable songs in the history of the band. At the end of an album where we hear plenty about falling in love, and then being angry when the love isn't going both ways, Pothole is that feeling right when you're on the verge of giving everything up. It's that last cry for any acceptance whatsoever. Whereas before you were hoping for this incredible relationship that would be everything you've ever dreamed about, now you're willing to accept whatever you can get at all. The only instrumentation is a gentle acoustic guitar, which helps add to the soft, vulnerable, intimate nature of the song in general, and the last few lines of this truly relatable, heart-crushing song really hit me hard every time I listen to it.
You are the ember of my heart, whether you like that or not.
It's not a hot take whatsoever to call Frank Ocean one of the best musicians of this generation. With albums like Channel Orange and Blonde, he's been reimagining what can be done in modern popular music. While he's oftentimes described as more genre-bending than fitting one specific style, he's been credited with innovating current R&B music and giving new life to the genre itself. He's an incredibly introspective songwriter, a prolific and necessary storyteller in today's world, and more than anything, he does things his own unique way. Where most R&B musicians would focus on their vocals more than anything, Frank will often distort his vocals like on Pink Matter, Nikes, or Self-Control. Where countless musicians will close out their albums with just another normal song, Frank closes out his with more conceptual, abstract pieces like End and Future Are Free. Where 99% of mainstream artists will have tightly scheduled rollouts for albums with music videos, interviews, and more, Frank will disappear for years at a time and drop albums without much buildup. And I could go on and on about Frank being different from everyone else and being so inventive, but what happens when he takes one of the most popular classic rock songs of all time and makes it his own? When he covered Moon River recently, he left most of the lyrics the same, but changed a lot of the instrumentation. However, on his 2011 mixtape Nostalgia Ultra, he took the Eagles' 1976 hit Hotel California and left all the instrumentation the same, but changed all of the lyrics. The original lyrics of the song are rather vague and can be interpreted in a number of ways. One of the creators of Hotel California, Don Henley, detailed the song like this. Some of the wilder interpretations of that song have been amazing. It was really about the excess of American culture and certain girls we knew, but it was also about the uneasy balance between art and commerce. But when Frank Ocean does his version of the song, he changes the lyrics to describe a complex look at what marriage means from his perspective, rushing into everything from the very start, admitting that an American wedding can be pretty meaningless, juxtaposing lust and love, making clever judgments of material possessions and what ownership means in a relationship, and eventually, the common result of most American weddings, American divorce. It's just so interesting to me how the passion from that original instrumental remains, but the meaning behind the song takes on a completely different form. Frank Ocean is a brilliant innovator, and while many would argue that he's some kind of fraud for using the same instrumental that other people already made, I personally am blown away by how he was able to give new life to an old song. The Eagles have tried to sue Frank for performing the song live, so you don't hear many people talking about it anymore, so if you didn't know this song existed, now you do.
We had an American wedding.
Sufjan Stevens is one of my all-time favorite musicians, and something he does so well that ultimately, in my opinion, is what all art should do, is that he can evoke such raw emotion in his audience. Everyone will connect to his music a little bit differently, but if Sufjan is telling a story that is sad and depressing, you'll probably be in tears by the end of the song. He's a miraculous storyteller, and combining his lyrics with his usual array of tender guitars and light pianos is a perfect storm of feeling. My all-time favorite song from him is 4th of July off of his album Carrie and Lowell. This album from 2015 is a remarkable look at a musician deep into his career. Sufjan already had 6 albums under his belt at the time. From 2000 to 2010, he made A Sun Came, Enjoy Your Rabbit, Michigan, Seven Swans, Illinois, and The Age of Ads. He had experimented with many different sounds ranging from his usual indie folk to alternative rock, baroque pop, electronica, and more. He collaborated with rappers, he went on extravagant tours and wore wigs and wings, he dropped a box set of Christmas EPs, but on Carrie and Lowell, Sufjan went as far back to his roots as possible. It's like how everything was before the fame, before the lights, the wigs, the outfits, before all of that. It's just a guy and his guitar or piano, whatever it may be at the time, and his angelic vocals. And what does this pure, intimate album touch on, you might ask? Sufjan coming to terms with the death of his mother. Sufjan's mother, Carrie, was bipolar, schizophrenic, suffered from drug and substance abuse, and she abandoned Sufjan multiple times as a child. Lowell was Sufjan's stepfather, who was married to Carrie for 5 years when Sufjan was very young. Those 5 years have been described by Sufjan as his quote-unquote season of hope. While Carrie would eventually die from stomach cancer in 2012, Lowell has been running Sufjan's record label as Matic Kitty for a number of years. The song that I mentioned on the extremely emotional, passionate, intense album Carrie and Lowell, 4th of July, is a conversation between Sufjan and his dying mother. Each verse goes back and forth between Sufjan in a stage of denial and Carrie already accepting her inevitable passing. In an interview with Pitchfork, he described the period of time when Carrie was dying. Knowing the story behind this song and then hearing it is one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever experienced within art. She had stomach cancer, and it was a quick demise. We flew to see her in the ICU before she died. She was in a lot of pain and on a lot of drugs, but she was aware. It was so terrifying to encounter death and have to reconcile that and express love for someone so unfamiliar. Her death was so devastating to me because of the vacancy within me, At that point, I was only interested in communicating my love for her unconditionally. There was a reciprocal deep love and care for each other in that moment. It was very profound and healing.
Well, you do enough talk, my little hawk. Why do you cry?
Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. Remember to like and subscribe if you want more videos like this. If you want to follow my social media, the links are down below. You can also donate to my Patreon, help the show, and get some cool rewards if you click the link on the screen. And I sell merch at tpublic.com/user/alfomedia. Thanks for watching, and always forward.